What's going on? This is the Aucar 14.5-inch Android interface infotainment system. And so this is going to replace the small 8-inch screen inside this 2018 Expedition. This specific screen will replace the head unit in your 2018 to 2021 Expedition, and it's going to make it a lot better. Not only is it bigger, it's 14.5-inch, but it also will give you an Android interface, kind of like a tablet, and allow you to, number one, get wireless CarPlay, as this does not have it. It has wired CarPlay. This will give you wireless CarPlay and wireless Android Auto, as well as going to allow you to download apps from Android, like the Android Play Store. It's going to allow you to download YouTube TV, YouTube, Disney Plus. It's going to allow you to download all those different video programs. You can watch videos on this while you're driving on the road. You can do Spotify, all that type of stuff. We'll get into it a little bit later and show you all that, but that's what's going to allow you to do. So what we're going to do is we're going to show you how to install this in your Expedition, and also give you an idea of what comes in the box, as well as how to set the actual unit itself up. Everything that this vehicle does will be on here now, and everything's going to interchange just fine. Your 360 camera, if you have one, will be on here. Backup camera will work on this. Everything like that will work just fine. Your head unit will now be on here. It'll just look like the Sync 2 or Sync 3 system, whatever you have. It'll be on here instead. If you're watching this video and you're interested in buying this, I do have a coupon code down in the description below. It's going to save you 50 bucks. And if you buy one of these and you have questions along the way, feel free to put them in the comment section below. If you have any questions and issues or anything like that, feel free to reach out, and I'm happy to help where I can. Or maybe some of the viewers will also chime in on helping you out as well. So let's go ahead and look and see what's in the box, and then get to installing this and checking it out. So here is the head unit itself, and it does have a screen protector on it. We're going to keep that on there as long as we can. But notice down here, it has a place for some extra controls. You have another different bracket here, and I believe they use two different types of brackets on the vehicle itself, or they have two different brackets. So you got to figure out which one is yours, and then you can remove, if this is the one that fits better than that one, you can remove that one and put this one on. We had to swap it out. So then coming over here, we have a user manual, which actually has quite a bit of information in it, and then an installation manual. And in the installation manual, they have quite a few different, they have the Sync 1, Sync 2, and Sync 3 instructions, depending on what vehicle or what you have in your vehicle. You got warranty guide here, or warranty documentation. You have an SD or a SIM card adapter that you can use if you're going to use a SIM card and you need an adapter. And then you have all these different wiring harness and adapters. So you got the main one. Basically what you're going to be doing is pigtailing all the wires that are coming from the factory unit to this one, and these are going to allow you to convert those different wire diagram or wire conversions. You got a CAN bus right there for audio, and then USB. Now this is USB that will work with this. It is not the USB for the USB that is in, if there's already USB ports. So if you want anything to work with this head unit specifically, you want to use this USB adapter. You got, I'm not really sure what this is. It looks like it's part of this adapter, and well, if I figure it out, I'll put it in the video. You got the speaker. I don't know why you need this. We leave these out of the head units that we've installed so far. We got 4G antenna, and this is so if you want to use the SIM card adapter, or use a SIM card to get internet, here's 4G antennas for that SIM card. You got GPS antenna if you want to use GPS antenna that's not the vehicles. You got an external microphone if you want to use an external microphone other than the vehicles. And then you have the LVDS connector, and this goes between the sync module on the vehicle and the head unit. And then this is a speaker adapter as well that will be put in place. Oh, and then I couldn't figure out what these little plastic pieces are. And this is for if you don't have certain buttons, this goes in place of those. All right, to install this, you have to remove this top portion here. And the speaker up here, yours might look a little bit different, but there are 4 push-in body connectors in here. 2 on this side and 2 on that side, and you have to use a tool or a trim tool removal to get them be very careful. But once you get those off, there's going to be 2 bolts, 7mm bolts in the back end here, and you'll remove those. And this piece right here will come off by prying up right here and get this off. And then once we get this off, we can get the bolts for this trim piece off underneath here. And then this whole front face will come off. The screen will stay put, but the whole face will come off, and we'll unplug all those plugs. And then we'll go on to getting the new one installed. So you're gonna pry very carefully. And it sounds like it's breaking it. And if you don't have trim removal tools, and you want to use screwdrivers, that's up to you. You might scratch your plastic. I'll put the kind that I have here down in the description below. There's right there and there's the 7mm screws. Okay, now that you got those 2 bolts removed, there is a cover here that this actually just sits in here and it removes it just sits in there. So now we're going to remove the front here. And there's 3 connectors up front here, push-in pins, or I don't know what you call those. Put it in the comments. So now you got these bolts right here. Are those 7mm too? I bet they are. So we can remove the front of this off. All right, now those bolts are removed, and so this will come off. I think it just comes off towards us. There it goes. And just slowly pull it as it's coming off all the way down. Ever so carefully. And just remember these little connectors right here, the little plastic, the white right here, you'll have to remove these because there's some on the actual head unit we're gonna put on that you'll need to put them on. So that way this goes back in to the spots here. So we'll need to unplug all these connectors right here on the back side, and then we can get to work here. Now we're ready to remove the screen, and there are 3 bolts here. I hope they're 7mm too. And then there are 3 bolts on this side, and the screen will come out. There is a module attached to the screen, and it's got wires connected to it as well. That module on the back of the screen will need to unbolt from the screen and bolt onto the new one. So here's the APIM module that you'll need to remove, and we'll get it out of the vehicle, but you got to remove the connectors here so we can get it out of here. But this is what it looks like. Okay, so one thing to note is the orientation of this. When you bring it off of that one and bring it on here, it actually reverses. So the 2 screws are on the left-hand side and the 1 screw is down here. Then that's just how the screw holes line up. We got to remove this back off because there's screws underneath here to take this plate off so we can get this attached here. So this, the AC controls and whatnot, they unscrew from here and they screw on underneath here onto this bracket here. So we have to remove this first, and you gotta go underneath there. Okay, so once you got all the screws out, you need to transfer all the internal pieces. Now there are 2 knobs on this one specifically that will not go over to this one, but you need this board and this, because this is going to go on, this is physical buttons are going to be going through on the other side of this. Now this eject button, there's no room for that. So we're going to remove that. It just pulls out right there. And then there's wires that go through the connectors on there. And so there's that screws right there for that connector. That connector in the center is already there. And there's another one of these that there's another one of these that they provide that you'll screw on as well. So that way, when you screw that back side on, it'll look like this. One thing we noticed is there are screw holes to keep the control boards here attached here so that you can put this cover on and screw the cover on. This will keep everything contained so that these right here will spin just fine, and it'll keep it all centered. All right, trial and error, we got it going here. So the silver screws go holding this panel in here, And the small, well, there's two different size black screws. The longer black screws they give you will screw in the little spots right there and there. This one does not have a place to slide into. And then now we can slide the cover on and slide those connectors on through right there. And now we can use the silver screws for connecting all the back panel on. Now, take your time on this. It is a little challenging, just to let you know. Okay, so we have it all wired up based on the instructions here. They tell you where they go on here. And there are some that are no wires going to. These are from the vehicle. And so here's a wire that goes to the vehicle. And this, like the GPS antenna, the CAN bus, that all will go inside the head unit, or the back behind the head unit. So you have to find space for that. And then you have the connectors from the stock unit or the vehicle for the AC controls right here will plug in. So here are those buttons, and there's a clip on both sides. You press in and push out. There it goes. So it pushes out, and then you'll put them in the same place here on the top. They're on the top here, and they click right in. I would put them in the same place as they come out of there, because that's where the wires are. Putting it back in, it is going to be a tight fit because these wires do not come out very far, as you can see here. So you're going to have to, we have the foam that came with it here, but you'll have to lay it down a little bit and connect the wires in. This one goes into the APIM module right there. These three up here go to the top where those buttons were. That goes into the APIM module right there. And then this one goes to that right there. And that is it. The USB cables that we want to run, we're going to run those to the like the glove box. So you have to figure out how to run that there. And then, so we're going to get these connected. Not in on the top right. There it is. There you go. So these go back once you got it all in, pressed in. That goes back in the way it came out. Clips in, clip the speaker in, clip the front in using these clips right here. And then you got the two bolts back there. And then the speaker grill goes back in by press fit. All right, so as you can see here, it kind of looks like the standard stock radio. You have Sync 3 right here, like we had before, but now we got digital buttons down here. This whole screen is 14.5 inch wide, or 14.5 inch screen. You do have the AC controls down here, the physical ones that were there, but you also have them here. So you now have digital ones down there. And then you also have, this is an Android tablet, or just like an Android tablet, which is really cool. So you can download apps through the Play Store, like Netflix. You can download Disney Plus, VLC, Google, Spotify, YouTube TV, whatever you want to do, whatever is in the App Store should come on here. You got Google Maps, which is nice. And we'll talk about that in a second here. One thing about Sirius XM, you have to go through the app. It doesn't go through the radio anymore. You do have wireless CarPlay and Android Auto, which is also wireless. So that's really nice. So we're going to connect into that. So now we're into wireless CarPlay, which is really nice. Everything kind of moves just fast, just like it would, with very minimal lag. And I think they did a really good job with this one. It's on an Android iOS 13 platform, I believe. And it's a lot faster than their previous models. The previous models were just fine on other ones I've installed, but this one's got a little bit more pep to it, if I have to say. So that's kind of cool. So here's wireless CarPlay. It'll all work out the way it needs to. And then if you ever want to watch Netflix or anything like that, you need to connect it to a hotspot. So you're able to go to Google's Play Store and download any apps that are available. So Netflix is downloaded. So now we need to connect this to a hotspot. Now we're at the house right now, so we're gonna connect to the home network. But when you're away from the house, you need a hotspot. You need a Wi-Fi hotspot or a SIM card. If you had a SIM card, you can actually use a SIM card. That's the best way to do it. But I just don't. I'm not rich. I don't have that money just for one SIM card for the vehicle. So I just connect it to a hotspot. So we're gonna connect it to a hotspot. So we're on a hotspot right now, and we'll play a show here. And it's playing right now. I'll give it a little volume here so you can.
No, I'm a public school teacher.
The woman doesn't know who we are. I don't think she cares if it's real diamonds.
Yeah, I know.
Just something cheap and nostalgic.
All right, take it down. Now I will say, some people say that, or have experience where the audio is lagged behind. I personally have not had any issues with any of Aucar's head units being lagged behind. I've put them in an F-150, I've put them in this Expedition, I've put it in 2 different units in a Silverado, I've put one in a Mustang. I personally have not had any issues with lag on audio, or maybe I just can't tell. But either way, I know that's been something that some people have brought up sometimes, but on the vehicles that I've put this in, I have not had any issues. So it's playing right now. Now, one difference is if you are using or connected to the internet, and you want to use CarPlay or Android Auto, you can't use both of those, or you can't use CarPlay and the internet, watch a movie. You have to do one or the other, because if I recall, wireless CarPlay goes off of the Wi-Fi signal on your phone. Not really sure the logistics there, it just doesn't work that way. But if you wanted to, you could watch Netflix, but then also do maps through the actual app on the Android unit. So you can get around that way. And then you can do a picture-in-picture if you wanted to, which is really nice. Now, one thing to understand is there are settings for the system, and then there are settings for the Android side. So there are 2 different locations for settings. If you wanted to change something when it comes to Android operating system, you would do that in the Android settings. If it's the actual head unit, if you want to connect to a network, you want to go through the different settings here, this is just for the actual head unit itself, not the software, the head unit itself. So that's kind of, you got to keep that in mind. Let's see here, what else? Oh, you have access to the rear view camera, and if you have a 360 camera, it will work as well. So that's really cool. If you don't have a 360 camera, it won't show that up. It'll just do a backup camera. So go back there. If you have problems with setting this up and you're getting into a situation where the backup camera is not working or something like that, there are settings that are maybe off in here. In the booklet that you get, they explain those different settings where you might need to change that. So right now, we have the modern homepage. We have night mode, which is dark mode. There are different RDS for the radio, sleep switch. They have audio stuff. You can change the equalizer, video in motion. We turn that on. User, you can change what do you want the default navigation app to be. You can change the boot logo, boot animation, stuff like that. You can have an application start automatically if you wanted to. We didn't have to mess with any of the settings. It all worked just fine. Not saying yours won't have that issue, but just let you know if there are, that should be in the user manual. So let's see here, what else? On this screen, you can do widgets if you wanted to, just like an Android tablet. You can move around the icons. You can put more apps down here if you wanted to, or leave them in the switcher. You've got digital controls, you name it. Also, the buttons up here, those were the buttons down here originally. And we didn't realize that those were up there until we started putting the head unit in. So those buttons, I thought they were going to be digital on the screen, like sometimes they are on other units, in different vehicles, but they go up here, and that's where those blank buttons will go if you don't have those access to those buttons or don't have those features. One thing to note, getting this panel switched over, it does take a little bit of time. I'm not gonna lie to you, but just be patient. If you have any questions about any of the installation of this or any questions about how this works, feel free to put down in the comment section. I'm here to help you in any way that I can. I know that Aucar's support team is pretty good when I have questions. But all in all, we never really had any issues. Everything works down here just fine. All this works just fine. And now we have a more modernized screen. If this is your first time to my channel, please consider subscribing for more tech reviews, home automation, home and automotive how-to videos. Thanks for watching, and I will see you next time.